All right, class, I just wanted to give you some information on the cause and effect or causal essay that is your final exam essay. And I found this good source here, so you guys wouldn't have to buy a textbook, but it's also, at the college level, textbook wise, right? And it's basically how to write a causal essay. And here's your information on it. So essentially, it's called a cause and effect essay because you're essentially laying out the causes that have led to some kind of consequence. And each cause may have its own consequence, which leads to another cause and another consequence. They're all going to be related to actions or behavioral patterns or as events that you're going to have to write about, why they happen and the effects that they cause afterwards. So, generally, this is going to take a little bit of argumentation. You have to use your sentences, your logic, to prove that there is a relationship between a cause and an effect, right? And you're giving an example there about alcohol. But this is pretty interesting here. The purpose of such an essay is to define and evaluate all sides related to cause and effect dilemma. So, you've already gotten your topic about global warming, and they use this example here. And so it gives you this: choosing a topic idea. You have to think about it very carefully. You just can't say global warming is caused by chemical plants. You have to include an outcome with personal consideration and causal analysis, which means that you have to really flesh out the role that chemical plants have in global warming and how they're not, the only thing out there that causes global warming. There's several things that work together, to all lead to global warming, for example. And if you take it back even further, you take it back from, the cause of chemical plants being our consumer-driven economy. Why are we that way? You can take it all the way back to competition for world economies, for survival after World War II. You can take it all the way back to the beginnings of civilization. It just depends on what you're doing for your essay. But you need to think about it very carefully. A cause and effect, it's never just one cause and one effect. There's always a series of causes and a series of effects that all build into one thing. Okay, so how to write a causal analysis essay structurally. You have to have, a good argumentative topic. I mean, you are kind of arguing, for something in this cause and effect thinking. You've already got our topics. Okay, so you need to have a thesis statement. The reason why they have this thesis statement first is because, in every essay that you ever write, you should always begin with a thesis statement. And in a causal analysis essay, the thesis statement should be one or two sentences that sum up the main points of your paper, the main causes and causal chains and what they lead to. Okay, so here's an example thesis that might be pretty useful. Many college students in the United States become victim of unhealthy eating for three reasons. Obesity increase during college time happens due to food commercials, irregular timetables, and cheap fast food availability. So this is the very simplest example of a thesis statement where you only have like three main causes that lead to one effect. I would like to see even more from you on the college level. I mean, this is the basic minimum. Three causes, one body paragraph, per cause. But if you're efficient with your writing, then you could squeeze in several related causes into one body paragraph. But anyway, so here's another one. Studying effects of television, video games, and children's daily lives, one can conclude that interpersonal skills and school interactions become damaged and one-dimensional. That's very simplistic. But anyways, okay. So, you want your essay to be complex. Okay, your introduction. In the introduction paragraph, you have to create a setting or a situation. You have to make it relevant. You have to prove that we do have an issue, for example, with global extinction and apathy and climate change and the issues that it's causing and all the animals going extinct and health issues like we're experiencing now, developing out of civilization, it's got to have a few sentences that lets the reader know what the topic is and how it's important and relevant, just like in an argument essay. You have to get the reader's interest. Maybe give them a little information they may not know. Like what is going on with extinction right now? We have an unprecedented, extinction that's happening faster than the dinosaurs, faster than ever before in the recorded history of Earth. Which is, 5 great extinctions before this, and it's coming on stronger and faster than ever before. Okay? Remember, if you list things in order in a thesis statement, generally they need to follow that order in the body paragraph, or it becomes a little distracting to the reader. Okay? All right, your body paragraphs. Basically, you've got to develop that causal chain we discussed. It's got to lead to an effect. You have to fully explain what something causes in a way where the reader believes you. Like, for instance, agriculture leading to civilization. You have to explain that. You have to explain the ideas of surplus of food, power structures, all that stuff. Okay, that's what's going on in your body paragraphs. Okay, your conclusion, you want to rule out any confusion and once again connect all the cause and effects from all your body paragraphs together and show that they're related, okay? And also, generally in a cause and effect conclusion, you also want to urge the reader to do something as kind of a note, a suggestion of how to behave, okay? Okay. Essay writing tips for this, just don't write a list. Remember, you're trying to convince the reader of a cause and effect relationship. You're not just saying this leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to this. You got to explain it in a way that they believe you and want to read the essay. Don't bore the hell out of them. Let's see what else. See what else is useful out of these essay writing tips. Again, your thesis statement is the entire summary of your essay. You need to really explain what you're saying are these causal changes and causes and what they lead to and how they're related. Remember, you can use quotes from the film to back up your sources. You can use statistics from the film. You can use ideas from the book. All right? Okay. This is interesting. Writing of effects. It's recommended to use comparison and contrast style of writing where an outcome is made clear. I am not exactly sure what this means here. I think they're talking about, the patterns, the structure that we set up in a comparison and contrast style essay, but that one's not really exactly clear there, so I would probably just ignore that. Think about your body paragraphs. You want to, if you have one cause that has multiple effects or several causes with one effect, think about how you're going to write that. Okay? Think about how you're going to structure it in your essay. How you're going to let the reader know that. How you're going to parcel out that information. Look, you don't use this next point. You don't use a definition in an essay unless it's a definition that no one is familiar with, that the general public wouldn't be familiar with. So don't waste words using definitions unless it's something that nobody's heard of, okay? This whole conclusion thing is useless. Y'all know that. The introduction thing, y'all know that. Strong hook, connecting information, strong thesis. Good, okay, everything else is good. All right, good. So I've also included a website here, which I'll be putting in D2L, that gives you an example of a causal essay that's worth reading and looking at.